What is Interledger's total addressable market size? All the money. What we're really talking about with this idea of the Internet of Value is creating a single global payment network that connects literally everyone.
Big problem in payments is you don't have interoperability between networks, and that goes for blockchains as well, right? Blockchains can't solve this problem, right? Because blockchains are networks themselves.
You are not a blockchain.
That's not the solution to glue it all together.
Blockchains don't solve the interoperability problem by themselves.
As networks, they can't be a network of networks.
Internet of money, Internet of value. Eventually, it is going to be a network of networks, interoperable, with the existing systems. It complements the existing systems.
So we need some kind of an internetworking protocol for payments.
Create that internet scale protocol to move digital assets.
Connect all of these various networks and can do multi-hop. Our bet is that Interledger protocol is going to be the protocol of choice for interoperability. Our bet is that this is going to be a successful interoperability protocol, a key component of this Internet of Value.
So in that way, it's a lot like TCP/IP.
So think of it as TCP/IP of blockchain.
Describe our work at Quant as laying the foundations with overledger to build the Internet of Trust. We are honoring the original vision of the Internet by decentralizing it.
What we're doing is replacing the centralized web. Our technology is shaping the next evolution and generation of the internet.
I've always had an idea of creating an internet protocol for money, and they agreed. So we've got the US government involved, the Internet Engineering Task Force. They're the ones that endorsed and enabled TCP/IP to happen, the ones that basically created the protocols that run the internet.
They're looking to re-architect the internet.
Are you the web?
Yeah, we call it the Internet of Trust. So it's the next evolution of the internet.
And
so
it's already happening.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen, it's happening now.
One of the key takeaways: if managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. It's just a few taps. You can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure. The supply and demand of the assets that you hold. What does that entail? What is the significance beyond just that? So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's coverage. Now, I want to give a shout out, as usual, to this particular individual, Quant Papa. The network of networks. Think about what that means. Now, some of this coverage you've seen before, but again, Quant Papa did a really good job of clipping all these together and having it in a nice flow, if you will. This is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. We'll come back to reflect upon this, and let's go ahead and get right into it because it's really, really powerful. Here we go.
So we can't be siloed, we can't be closed off from each other. We need that as a society, and we need that for our networks. And so that's what we've set out to solve, and we've done that. We've solved interoperability at scale.
UN President High Patron has given this initiative aiming to get people out of the silos and to collaborate in a decentralized manner.
So you're not limited to jurisdictions, you're not limited to, siloed islands, as you said, and the walled gardens that we previously had.
To get people out of the silos.
Those nodes acting as silos, and those silos are blockchains. And what you're doing is you're building that business bridge, you're building that technological bridge to light the whole system up.
UN agencies will cooperate with platforms and initiatives related to blockchain and the SDGs all over the world.
Truly enable that globalization, cross-border trade across the world for the first time.
The purpose of the global initiative, under the high patronage of His Excellency Saba Karozi, President of the 77th UN General Assembly, is to bring together 100+ networks and platforms.
We're connecting any blockchain together in a very unique way that is one blockchain to any blockchain without connectors, without any overhead, without any more risk. So we're doing it at internet scale, and we're also allowing people to connect blockchain networks and the whole blockchain world to existing networks through the overledger.
is to bring together 100 plus networks and platforms.
100 blockchains out there, right? Providing any-to-any interoperability. So you're not limited through connectivity or routing between different blockchains. You're open to all.
To envisage a blockchain ecosystem.
We're creating an ecosystem. So it's interoperable. We can connect any-to-any in terms of existing networks, blockchain networks, different technologies.
And strengthen the foundations.
And so what we're doing is we're using all these advanced technologies, including blockchain, to really reshape and re-architect the foundational architecture of the system. So we're, in a way, we're re-architecting what we should have had in the first place, honoring that original vision of the internet and the networks that we all use.
So in 5 years' time, where it's going to be, I think value will be derived in the trillions because, excuse me.
I think we're going to have our internet moment in the next 3 years because we're ramping up. To me, it makes sense that we'll have two coexisting internets, one for internet for transacting information and one internet for transacting value. And for me, success is when like our mothers or family who use a transaction and it uses a blockchain network, they don't know and they shouldn't know, and we're getting there. So I think we're nearly there. And if you remember the internet, it only was opened up in '92. Up until '92, it was a research-only network, and then World Wide Web happened in '94, and all the killer applications came out. So I think email was the first one, '92, when it was opened up. People started emailing each other very quickly, and that was amazing. And then World Wide Web happened a couple of years later. So I think in the next 3 years, we'll have our internet moment, and then after that, we'll have those killer applications that everyone will use without knowing it's a blockchain, which is great.
All right, key thing here, without knowing it's a blockchain, which is great. Now, on the last XRP/XLM video I pointed out, it basically mentions, for instance, that we have these particular moments, right, where on the payment side of things, the big moment for me and all of us, let's just be honest, when it comes to the payments, you will have your certain cryptos, let's face it, that have real world utility. Not all the cryptos, right? But I'm talking like XRP, XLM, and so on. I know this is a quant video, but I want you guys to see that, especially if you haven't done so already. It's some good stuff. But it talks specifically how crypto will be tied in to your Visa debit card, your MasterCard, debit card, or provided from whatever bank. Because let's face it, right? Like I have Wells Fargo, right? So for instance, it's a Wells Fargo Visa. You might have a different bank. It might be like a such and such bank MasterCard. But whatever the case be, how that's tied into crypto and what particular ones have that utility to do those payment APIs. And again, when I think of the likes of Quant, I think of myself, think about how they're making everything interoperable. So it might not say specifically like, Quant has a Visa partnership and, you see the name of Quant. That doesn't matter. Like he mentioned in this particular clip, Gilbert Verdian, how basically just it works and we know it works, but you don't even realize what it's tied into. Think about what Quant, how many different ones Quant is tied into, right? So you have things working without even thinking about it. Why? Because you don't need to know. I should say you don't need to know. We need to know as us researching these particular projects. But the mass public, they don't need to know. Kind of like when, for instance, your power. It's like that power's on their house and whatnot. I mean, you may know the particular power company and so on, but you don't know all the ins and outs of, what particular different types of, I don't know, I want to say wires from this particular manufacturing company that made that happen. Or, for instance, your local ISP, right? They might have that connection with Cisco or you name it, right? The point is you're paying for those particular bills, for those particular services. Why? Because those services work and you trust that they work because they have been working. We're going to get to the point when it comes to the likes of Quant where that makes sense as well. You don't need to worry about all this other stuff that's in the background. You just know that it simply works, efficient. If anything, it's faster. It's more secure. And of course, this is shout out to Coach JV. And this is pounds home the whole thing when it comes to this whole concept of not looking good for America. Gold-backed currency coming. Russia, biggest bank, makes first move. This pounds home the whole thing of not just the interoperability, but the supply and demand for Quant. Coach JV provides great content, in my humble opinion. You can follow him at CoachJV_. He's the CEO of 3T Warriors Academy. They have over 100,000 followers. 3 minutes, and then we'll come back.
This is not looking good for America. I want to be very, very clear. I'm proud to be an American. I've built multiple companies in America. It's the freest country in the world if you take advantage of the freedom. But as Americans, we need to pay attention to what is actually happening right now. Now, I've been stating that we're going to an asset-backed currency, and I've gotten so much hate and so many comments on my social media saying that I'm crazy. Well, guess what? Russia's largest bank, issues a gold-backed digital asset. So Russia's bank went for it. A gold-backed digital asset that their clients have access to. Now remember, the first thing that America did when Russia invaded Ukraine is we took them off the Swiss system, the old archaic banking system. During this time, the BRICS countries, some of the countries I can't mention on here because they'll shut down your TikTok or it'll get banned, but the BRICS countries have been stacking gold. Now here's why they're stacking gold. I want to provide some education. Since 1971, America detached from the gold standard, making the American dollar fiat, which represents fake money. A dollar represents nothing other than your perceived value in it. So around 1973, America was like, uh-oh, we better do something about this. So we worked with the Saudis to create what's called the petrodollar. What we did is we provided defense to the Saudis for a deal that said all oil would be traded in US dollars. Now this has been happening since 1973, but you're gonna start to hear the word de-dollarization. Just go to my YouTube channel, link in bio, I'll break all this down for you. Many countries are working to de-dollarize from the American dollar because the stranglehold and the weaponization it's done since 1971. So countries like Canada that hold a lot of American dollars on the reserves are starting to get a little iffy and scared because the US dollar is in a tough position. So if countries come together and decide to de-dollarize, what does that mean for the US dollar that is dominating right now? So with our interest rates skyrocketing, that increases the value of the dollar, and us crushing other countries, people are getting frustrated. They're stacking gold, and Russia just showed us that what I was saying was true, that they want to go back to an asset-backed currency, which would balance out the monetary system, bringing back in an even playing field. We're going to go to a bag of currencies, which is actually going to regulate the financial system versus the dollar dominating the financial system. There's one country that starts with a C that's in the BRICS that is a dominant force right now in the financial system. I highly recommend you dive into Ray Dalio's studies and understand historical patterns for 500 years. We are living through unprecedented times. So we're going to go into a digital currency, asset-backed digital currency, blockchain technology, on-demand liquidity.
All right, so shout out to, again, Coach JV. And here's the main takeaway I want you to have from this. So the supply and demand, because, I mean, it simply makes sense. Think about the Quant connection, right? You may think, well, he didn't specifically, mention Quant. He doesn't need to mention Quant. And by the way, he does cover Quant quite a bit on his own particular channel, Twitter, and so on. Now, what I want to state in closing is this. There's so much supply and demand for the likes of Quant, because if anything, it's going to pound home that much more in regards to the Quant connection and the tremendous amount of supply and demand that's going to happen here soon when we get into the utility run, which will trigger the bull run going forward. So guys, thanks again for watching. By all means, hit that like on the way out if you don't mind. Really do appreciate it. And you all have a blessed day. See you on the next one.
First we gonna rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it pay up. The X gon' give it to ya, he gon' give it to ya. X gon' give it to ya, he gon' give it to ya. Come on. Hey yo, where my niggas at? I know I got them down in the streets. Give them love and they give it back. Talk too much for too long. Don't give up, you're too strong. Love to the wild, wild hunters. Yeah. Shout out to niggas that done it. And it ain't even about the gold. It's about